Welcome back to the Battle Talk Show. I am your host, Noah Adamani, and I am coming to you directly after an XFL Conference Championship loss by our beloved St. Louis Battlehawks at home in front of 30,000 screaming Battlehawks fans. The atmosphere at home was simply not enough to get the job done on the field for the boys in silver and blue. And of course, it is by no fault of the fan base. 30,000 strong on a Sunday evening as families are winding down the school year and summer is just kicking off. It's extremely difficult to get that many fans in the building on a Sunday night. And the atmosphere was created by the fans, and the product on the field was simply not enough to propel this franchise to a UFL championship next week. So folks, before we dive into the game that was, be sure to like this video and of course subscribe to the United Football Media YouTube channel as you watch this. And as we sign off for the 2024 UFL season, always remember that CAW is law. Let's rock. The stage was set perfectly for these St. Louis Battlehawks, especially considering the Week 10 victory over San Antonio. They had to secure a win in order to host the conference championship. They accomplished that goal. And as I mentioned in the intro, more than enough of the Battlehawks faithful were in attendance on a Sunday night game in primetime. At home, the atmosphere was as rowdy as all get out. It was silver and blue all throughout the Battle Dome. And there were several moments throughout this game that genuinely felt like early 2000s wrestling moments. Right before kickoff, Travis Feeney gets on the mic inside the Battle Dome, having the ability to erupt the crowd and get things right before the football game kicked off. He was electric on the mic. And then, of course, later in the game, I genuinely got chills when A.J. McCarron walked out of the locker room to start the third quarter after re-aggravating his left ankle injury. It truly felt like a WWE storyline, and his ability to muster up the strength and courage to go back out on that football field with an ankle injury that's been lingering for, at this point, a month. That just shows his dedication to the St. Louis Battlehawks and the league as a whole, because he is one of the few stars that has spent a considerable amount of time in the NFL and has made the decision to commit himself to the United Football League. So I genuinely am so grateful for A.J. McCarron. I saw him get choked up in his post-game press conference, talking about the potential for him to continue playing in this league and potentially coaching down the road. I'm hopeful that we get him right back in the silver and blue next year, healthy, under center, as he has a lot of juice left in the tank. But folks, as we dive into the nitty-gritty of this football game, all things considered, the crowd was out in full force. A home game in the playoffs for the St. Louis Battlehawks, but the product on the field absolutely fell flat right from the jump, as Chase Garbers and the San Antonio offense were able to march right down the field, get inside the red zone, and the St. Louis defense was able to hold strong in the end zone. Cam Kelly, leading the league in regular season interceptions, was able to snag one in the end zone, causing a touchback. But the Battlehawks were able to do just about nothing offensively and hand the ball right back over to the San Antonio offense that was humming on all cylinders. In the backfield with Anthony McFarland, in the passing game with Jontre Kirkland. They were ready for the moment, and that all is a testament to coaching. Wade Phillips has been in big games in the National Football League. It was truly night and day when you factor in the preparedness of the San Antonio Brahmas. They felt comfortable playing in St. Louis in front of the home crowd. They did not lack intensity on the offensive end, and they were able to contain A.J. McCarron for most of the football game. Of course, re-injuring his ankle, which was extremely unfortunate. But he never had the big throws to Hakeem Butler downfield to cause those chunk plays and get in scoring position. And San Antonio's defense was number 1 rated in the UFL for a reason. They lived up to that ranking and are ultimately on their way to compete for a UFL championship, while we sit at home and watch the Brahmas and Stallions play in our home stadium. It is truly bitter to the core, as this was the great opportunity to play for a championship in the city of St. Louis with an astronomical amount of fans inside the Battle Dome. What really struck me in terms of things going wrong for the Battlehawks was on defense, just allowing the middle of the field to be wide open for Anthony McFarland on those burst runs, and Jontre Kirkland to get open just about anywhere on the field, but certainly on those in routes, and just able to burst through the secondary. There was simply no coverage of the middle of the field, and Chase Garbers was able to expose that in the passing game. And of course, we mentioned number 41 McFarland out of the backfield. Offensively, for these St. Louis Battlehawks, play calling was a major issue, and that goes straight to Bruce Gradkowski, who I have simply loved throughout the course of this season. But I know he was trying to do everything he could to maintain A.J. McCarron's ability to stay upright and not re-injure that ankle. So that's a huge reason why we were leaning on the ground game. But when you're down in a conference championship game and things aren't going your way in the ground game, you have to start throwing the football to your likely NFL wide receiver in Hakeem Butler. There were simply not enough passing plays that were designed for number 88 to go up and grab that football and make a play, break tackles, and earn his way into the end zone. That is truly a gripe that I have with Bruce Gradkowski. And A.J. McCarron was a warrior out there. He knew the magnitude of the moment. He's been in far bigger games in college at Alabama, and he was willing to throw the football, but the plays were just getting too cute. That triple reverse that Gradkowski called in a pivotal moment of the football game, turning it over, handing it right back to a high-powered San Antonio offense, that was also a play where I thought A.J. McCarron re-aggravated that ankle. And, of course, he took a big hit later in the game. But I thought it was a poorly called game on the offensive end. And the effort to keep A.J. McCarron from re-injuring himself ultimately fell short. And there was really no opportunity to produce on the offensive end when you're limiting your star quarterback and leaning so heavily on Jacob Sailors. I am truly disappointed in the way this UFL season ended, as there's no greater opportunity than to play a championship game in your home stadium. I mean, we saw it a few years ago in the NFL with Tom Brady winning a Super Bowl at Raymond James for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And as a sports fan, as a diehard St. Louis Battlehawks fan, I've not had a more meaningful playoff game in recent years for myself as a Chicago sports fan. As you can see in the back, my Bears haven't been in a playoff game of that magnitude in many years. And this was such a remarkable moment for myself as a fan and the city of St. Louis, who had the game of football stripped from them several years ago, to be able to host a playoff game for the first time in 19 seasons, get legends like Torrey Holt back in the building. You have to rise to the occasion, and it goes from the coaching staff on down. They were just not ready for the force of Chase Garbers and his weapons offensively, and I'm truly going to struggle to watch that UFL championship game inside the Battle Dome. And you will see there will be, I would argue, less than 30,000 fans between the two fan bases of Birmingham and San Antonio. My estimation will be somewhere around 22 to 25,000. It's going to be a tough travel day for certainly the San Antonio fans and those in the state of Alabama. It was right there for the taking for our St. Louis Battlehawks. I mean, they came out guns blazing defensively in the second half. Our man, Peter Taumapenu, with the scoop and score. It felt as though there was going to be a comeback in the second half, but the fourth quarter was just a slog to move the football and get into scoring position. The sure thing, Andre Schmidt missed a 50-yarder, which would have pulled the Battlehawks within 4 points and only needing a touchdown to cross the threshold and take the lead down the stretch. Ultimately, a major disappointment at the Battle Dome on Sunday night, but a major step in a positive direction for this football team, being able to make the playoffs and attain the goal from last year with a 7-3 record and get to that conference championship. This league in the UFL has legs, and we are going to watch it for years to come. And we are hopeful, of course, as the flagship fan base in St. Louis, that the other 7 teams around the league are able to garner more of a fan base in the next few seasons. And hopefully we'll be able to expand this thing into 10 or 12 teams by 2025 or 2026, because like AJ McCarron said in his post-game press conference, yes, this is not the National Football League. We are well aware as fans. We are just addicted to the game of football and cannot get enough of it. And what better way to showcase your skills than to play high-level football on national TV for 10 weeks in a row in the spring to give NFL teams a great look at what you're capable of at the professional level and get another chance to fulfill the dream as a player to play at the highest level in the NFL. We saw it last night in the post-game celebration. Wade Phillips stepped away from his interview and congratulated Hakeem Butler on Offensive Player of the Year and told him that all of his contacts in the NFL will be hearing about Hakeem Butler's ability and that he should be playing at the next level. That is all class from Wade Phillips, and I give a tip of the cap to him and his ability to finally beat our St. Louis Battlehawks. It took him 4 tries, but they got the job done in our house, and we should have nothing to say about it but congratulations and move on to 2025, because I'm hopeful that a good core of this team will be able to continue on in St. Louis come next year. But you will see names like Mike Rose and Peter Taumapenu and Cam Kelly and, of course, Hakeem Butler getting looks in NFL training camps this summer. So be ready to see that transition to the next level for some of our guys. And, of course, hats off to them. Hakeem Butler is more than deserving, and I cannot wait to watch him play on Sundays come September. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in all season. It has been a blast for me to cover this team and watch the beautiful game of football in the spring. and I cannot wait to be back next season. Always remember, Caw is law. Let's rock.